Right, let's talk now. I've got my coffee. I'm wrapped up warm because it is bloody freezing. Let's talk Campagnolo, whatever one you call it. Because I've had it on good authority. They don't mind what we call it. So yeah, let's not have any arguments in the comments below. But for now, let's delve into what I think about where they're at, where they're going, because I had a really interesting conversation with him yesterday. I'm at a multi-brand event. There's a whole heap of stuff going on, including, yes, Physique launching a new helmet, something that I'll add in another video. But yeah, I got to sit down with Campagnolo and discuss where they're going, where they'd like to go. And they also asked what opinions I had on the brand, because last year, 16 months ago, something like that, I wrote an article which didn't berate them, but didn't exactly praise them either. Because if you remember rightly, they didn't have a pro team or world tour team last year in the peloton. They had, for 2 years prior to that, been partnered with AG2R Le Mondial, which, let's be honest, never felt like a good fit, especially on a BMC bike. Never felt quite right, did it? And that team's always chopped and changed with the bike brands. Maybe not now, though. Anyway, let's get back on track. And I was worried about where they were going. Had they lost their way from their glory days? They had decreased in sponsorship throughout the years, and they, up until Pogacar won his first Grand Tour, hadn't won Tour de France since 1998, if I remember rightly. Before that, they dominated. Then they went off the boil. Then they seemed to have many problems with producing products that people wanted to buy. And from knowing plenty of people in the industry, plenty of brands, they also said they had issues with Campagnolo delivering or agreeing to make things that they thought would be ideal for their bikes. They went high-end basically, didn't they? They had the Super Record, they had the Record, they had the Bora wheels, and well, there was no entry point. And yes, if you look at the brand today, there's still not really any entry point, but there is a few hints that things are changing. And after a meeting yesterday, I'm quite excited for the future of Campagnolo, especially because there's a load of new people on board, and people that have come from really exciting brands. I'm not going to go into them, but you will know them and you will have loved them. And I think it's a good fit. And it's a bunch of young people as well, or younger than what there was before. Oh my God. Continue in a minute, that's good. Oh my God. It looks like there's been a bit of a clean out. People have left, and they've got a crew in that looks very enthusiastic and very switched on to what's going on now in the cycling market, because let's be honest, Campagnolo has always been a very traditional company, and it's what a lot of people love about it. But tradition only gets you so far, especially with new cyclists, and especially when you're only offering high-end stuff. If you want to grow the brand, you've got to offer products that A, allow people to get into your brand and allow people to get excited about your brand. And I think that's what's coming. They didn't exactly tell me what's in the pipeline, but they gave a few nods. And I think the first of them things that show that they realise they need to offer something for the ordinary person out there is the new Shimano wheels, which I will also talk about in a minute in a little review, because I'm on them now. Yes, they're not the same price as, let's say, a Mavic Cosmic S you can pick up for €1,000, or a set, is it 303S, is it? Something like that. That coming at about €1,200, but they retail at €1,800, and they look the absolute business. Plus, they're not aimed at the pure racing cyclists like your Bora Ultras, WTOs are, which I think bodes well for the future. It shows they're looking at the normal folks again, even though they're back in the World Tour as well, aren't they? They're with Cofidis and with Look, a brand that they do have some heritage with. You know, obviously Road Look, with Campagnolo back in the day. Is it a good fit? I don't think it's the ideal fit for them, but it's definitely a good way back into the pro scene. And if I'm honest, they were actually asking what teams I think would be a good fit, so that shows that they're thinking bigger, maybe getting 2-3 teams down the road, which would be awesome, wouldn't it? 16 months on from when I wrote that article where I worried that I thought they were going to be going down the same road as iconic brands such as Sunrace, Miche, GPME, who else? Zeus, even Mavic to some extent. But they're on the way back as well, aren't they? I think we don't need to worry too much. It looks like they're listening to their customers or potential customers. It looks like they're listening to the market. It looks like they've got a good team on board as well. It looks like they've had a real shake-up, and it looks like they're not losing what they were, but staying true to that. But also at the same time, I suppose actually going back to what they were well known for, producing great group sets that, yeah, maybe not were the lightest or most technically advanced, but actually stood the test of time. And talking about solid group sets, should I get on with that review? Yeah. Right, back from the coffee shop, and you got my view there on where I hope Campagnolo's going to be in the next couple of years. Anyway, into that little quick review that I was going to give you on the Shimals and the Super Record S group set that was riding on that Specialized Athos. For starters, let's start with the group set. Yes, it's expensive, but let's be honest, a lot of cycling kit's expensive. And yes, there's going to be a lot of people who don't like the aesthetics, but if I'm brutally honest, this is the first time I've seen it in the flesh, and I actually like it in that matte colour. It really stands out. You don't need that glossy look. It's got quite a bit of a modern touch to it, a little bit aggressive, yet soft at the same time. When that first Super Record was released, the new wireless one, and they had done away with the thumb shifter, there was a lot of people screaming and shouting, saying they're getting rid of what Campy is. And yes, they might be. But if I'm honest, I never really got on with a thumb shifter. It was all right in the mechanical group set, but I never saw the point of it with the electronics group set that came later on. It just seemed, well, they were leaving it there because that's what they'd always done. Yes, just having those shifters next to the lever blades now doesn't really distinguish it from any other group set out there, but it blooming well works. I usually use SRAM on my personal bikes at home, and whenever I get on a Shimano bike for reviewing, I always miss shift multiple times. It takes me ages to get used to it. Oddly enough, with a Campagnolo yesterday, I didn't miss shift. Maybe once or twice on the ride I did. It really felt quite natural, and I don't know whether it's because of the positions of the buttons or the feel of the buttons, but I just never miss shift at all. I never tried to do a SRAM on a non-SRAM group set, if you know what I mean. Also, them buttons, they're really tactile. I like the feel of them. They've got a campy feel about them, as in the ergonomics of them. You know you're on them. And that's another thing I always have problems with Shimano. It's kind of out in the cold weather if you've got the Shimano Di2 group set. Yeah, finding the buttons isn't always the easiest thing. So yeah, I really like the position of the buttons. I do not regret them getting rid of the thumb shifter. In fact, I think they needed to. So it's moving with the times, isn't it? Gearing choice as well was actually, I'll have to have a look into what it was I was riding, but I really enjoyed it. Usually I complain about compact chain sets. I'm not sold on them, even though they've been around for probably 20 years now. I swear that mechanically a 5339 with a 1225 Outback seems to just be mechanically correct for when you're pedaling. But the gear selection that they gave me on that bike actually made me feel like I was putting power out and not twiddling here, there and everywhere like you sometimes do with some gear combinations. So yeah, quite surprised there. Yes, you still get that heavy clunking shifting that goes with every Campagnolo group set, and yes, it's not as rapid up and down the block as Dura-Ace or even SRAM, but it feels like it's engaging in every gear. You know you're not going to slip off a gear by accident. It wants to engage sprocket by sprocket by sprocket by sprocket, and it feels secure. Yeah, another thing that, yeah, some people will love, others won't. I got on with it no problem, and I can understand why they do it. Not everything's got to be as rapid as Shimano or SRAM, I think. Braking, I've always liked campy braking, and again, no change there. Ergonomics, that's a personal thing, innit? I got on with it. The only bit I didn't get on with is like a little bulb at the top of where the lever blade is. It kind of felt that it didn't need to be there, but was for, I don't know, whatever reason. So all in all, I've really enjoyed it, and I bloody well should do, because it is expensive. As for them chamels, it's going to be another love or loathe with the aesthetics of them. Personally, I like them. I just want them to bring back that pinky logo that they used to have on the old alloy ones. That would look sweet. They're not as stiff as the Borers, nowhere near. These are the wheels I would say most Campagnolo riders should go for over the Borers. The Borers are race proven, great wheel. The finish is second to none, but the chamels are definitely a wheel set that will suit a lot more people, unless you're SRAM. They don't do it in a freer body that fits a SRAM cassette, unfortunately. There's workarounds though, we know that, don't we? And as for the finish on them wheels, lovely. It's nice to see Campy release something like that for the ordinary cyclist, shall we say. All in all, I've been slightly impressed with what Campagnolo's doing, which is a pleasant surprise for me. As I say, 16 months ago, I dug into where they were going, what they were releasing, what they weren't releasing, and was not negative, but critical of them. Now I've jumped on the group sets, seen where they're going. I'm hopeful for the brand. Fingers crossed, this is Campagnolo back on track. And fingers crossed, we're going to see more from them, because the stuff that they have released is good. It just needs new riders to be able to get into that ecosystem, get into the brand, know what it's all about, and to do that, they need to release cheaper components, more accessible price points. So fingers crossed. But if you have got the money, definitely give the Super Record S a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. And if you've got 1,800 euros burning a hole in your pocket, think about the chamels too. Right, time for me to get away from here. As always, join the conversation below if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know what you think about where Campy is, where they're going, what you think of the group sets. And thanks for watching, and enjoy your riding.